Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Friday the 24th of December 2021. Happy Christmas Eve to everybody. I'm going to use the new Mythic Tarot deck for today's reading. Let's see what the cards have to say about the 24th and what energy you'll be working with on this day. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards and let's see what's coming up. Okay, so let's have a look. First card is the Queen of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and finally, the Hanged Man. Okay, interesting. So the Queen of Cups is a really positive sign here for Friday the 24th. Because the Queen of Cups is a court card, same as the Knight of Swords, and they represent personality traits or actual people who appear in your life. And the Queen of Cups is in charge of the Suit of Cups, and that is water. Water has to do with spirituality and love and being there for other people, being nurturing, being a mothering type of figure, like a parent, someone who says, you can do it and things will be all right. And it's very supportive and nurturing and encouraging. So this Queen of Wands, we've got her sitting on this elaborate golden throne. So it's interesting because the Queen of Cups is about things that are abstract. It's feelings and connections and love and family. It has very little to do with money. So it's interesting that she's sitting on this throne because what the card is saying is that this ability to take care of other people emotionally and to be there for them, it's priceless. It's worth more than gold. And that's a really important message, I think, every day, but on this day particularly, because it's about seeing the value in your relationships, even if they're somewhat problematic or challenging or you don't agree with other people. The thing that's going to warm you and make you feel like this is the right place for me to be are those connections. And with the Hanged Man, at the end of the day, you may even see some of your relationships differently. So there's the potential to grow and to find something valuable in another person that you can kind of see positively and where you can say, wow, this person, for instance, with these two, they're warriors and, they have their job and they do their thing, but we don't know what the men are like themselves. So one of them could be an amazing family man and he does this work to pay the bills, but his real priority is being a father and a parent. He could be a great artist or a scientist who's going to bring in new inventions for the world and society. So even if you look at someone and generally you would dismiss them saying, oh, okay, I'm not going to have a big discussion with this person because, I don't know, they have some unusual ideas which I don't really want to get into. But I can see that deep down they're a great person, so I'm not going to be overly judgmental and I'm going to treat them with care and respect the same way I would anyone else. So you really have an ability to kind of pick and choose and to see the good things in people and to find it within yourself to have some compassion for them or to have some sort of affection for them. So the Queen of Cups is also very intuitive because water is the intuition and creative ability, imagination. They're all kind of linked. So if you are someone who works as a healer or as an intuitive, this is really good. Also, if you're creating something, if you're designing or painting or writing music, the Queen of Cups supports that very much because you're able to express your feelings, right? And the card is saying that your feelings have real value. So by expressing them in a practical way, that's the kind of golden throne. She's holding a yellow apple, which also seems very golden, and this chalice, and then she's got a crown. So she is so prosperous and abundant in a practical, physical way because of what she does emotionally. So it's the perfect example that you can make a living by using your abstract skills and expertise. Not everyone needs to work in a practical, tangible way, like as a carpenter or as a soldier or as a builder, for instance. So if you feel that you have some talent, but you're struggling financially and you don't know how to monetize your talent, look at that again today. Ask yourself, how can I make this serve me? And how can I actually use this? And how can I serve other people with it? You'll get some really good ideas about that. Next, the Knight of Swords. The Knight is one step down from the King and Queen. The Knights are still trying to manage their suit, their element. So swords is air. That has to do with ideas and thinking. It's a masculine element. So it's about creating content and putting things out there rather than being teachable and listening. So the element of air, for instance, an example would be a politician who influences an entire country. Or it's someone you're having an argument with and they won't budge. And not only won't they budge, but they're trying to convince you that they're right and you're wrong. So in a debate, you need this element of air sometimes to push your ideas out there, to overcome some challenges and obstacles, and then it can be taken on as something that's useful. There was a thing about what happens when society is faced with a new idea. I can't remember exactly. I'll try my best with what I do remember, but if you know this, then please put it in the comments because it's kind of important. So when someone comes up with a new idea, usually it's just, it's either denied or it's laughed off. And then if the idea still kind of persists and it doesn't go away, then people react in a different way, then they'll start to attack it. And then once that fails, then finally you get to a point of acceptance. But there's a process that's involved when other people are there. If you have certain ideas, other people aren't just going to take those at face value. Sometimes you have to prove it, sometimes you have to back it up with information. But the point of the Knight of Swords is that he is good, or they are good, at pushing their ideas out there and facing the conflict that inherently comes along with it. And sometimes we all have to be in that space. If we have something really important that we want other people to realize, then sometimes we do have to get bossy and stand up for ourselves and say, actually, hang on a minute, this is what I think is right. The downside of the Knight of Swords is that he doesn't do his research and he just rushes into situations. He's convinced of his own rightness, even if he isn't, and that can then cause problems. So we've got the Queen of Cups, this lovely, compassionate ability to see the best in others. The Knight of Swords to get your point across if you need to. So if someone comes at you, you can stand up for yourself in a loving way. You know, if someone says something that's completely, off the wall, off the beam or something, like that you don't agree with at all. I can't think of it. Like dogs don't have brains or something totally outrageous, something stupid. Then you don't need to say, oh my God, aren't you stupid? Pick up a book, go back to school, little Timmy. You don't. You can say, okay, well, thank you for sharing. And I'm going to move over to that group of people and have a chat, whatever. You don't need to confront people and tell them how right you are and how wrong they are. If anything, you're able to let things like that slide without going into Knight of Swords mode. Usually the Knight of Swords is alone and the horse is rushing into battle. So it's interesting in this deck that we've got two men on one horse. So immediately we've got a relationship here. So someone may back you up in what you're thinking, may not be right. So be careful with that because the Hanged Man is a change in perspective. So if you're saying something that is controversial, and suddenly everyone is applauding you and saying, oh, you're so right, you're wonderful, then just take that with a pinch of salt because opinions and views are likely to change a lot on this day. So no trying to impress other people or provoking them or being like a provocateur just to get a rise out of people. That's the warning. That's when other people will stand up for themselves and say, okay, in a loving way, enough, thank you. We're trying to have a nice meal here or whatever. So I think it's finding a middle ground between that, being able to stand up for yourself, letting go of things that aren't so important, and still getting your point across. Finally, the Hanged Man. Is this, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is Prometheus who stole fire from the gods. The punishment was that he'd be strung up by this rock, and then every day the eagle would come out and eat his liver, something like that. And it was this eternal punishment that happened every day. So, and please, if it's not Prometheus, let me know who it is, because this is the Mythic Tarot. So it is all based on stories from mythology. So the Hangman basically means that you've done something that's socially unacceptable. So you lose your power, they string you up and they say, have a moment to think about this. We're going to put you upside down so all the blood rushes to your head so you can think even better. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But the point is basically have a time out to think about what you're doing. The Hangman usually is associated with criminal behavior, things that are really abhorred by the rest of society. So he has to be taken out. And rather than being punished for eternity, usually the point of the Hangman is that once you do reflect and contemplate, you can turn things around and reach a point of enlightenment and see things very clearly in a more secure and stable way. But because the card is this way around, something that you feel you're right about, you may realize that actually, now that you have all the information, you may have to reevaluate that. So just as important as it is to stand up for yourself and what you believe, it's also important to listen to other people and to be willing to hear what they're saying, because you can actually be taught certain things and you can understand how certain behavior that you exhibit isn't particularly helpful to the people around you. And you recognize that for the first time, and then that recognition allows you to turn it around. So if you're, if you are incredibly sarcastic and that's just the way you talk, but other people often get offended or take it the wrong way, then if you're having a conversation today and somehow that becomes apparent to you that there's always this tone involved in all your conversations and that certain people don't react well, then, if you don't know anything about it, you can't change it. If you do know about it, then at least you have a choice. You can say, well, this is who I am, this is how I speak, and I don't care how other people react. Or, I want to be understood, I don't want to always come across as snarky and cynical, so I might change that. Number-wise, we've got the Hanged Man, which is the 12th card in the Major Arcana. I think it's not on here, is it? No. Okay, so 12, and then court cards count as 1. 1 and 1 is 2, and 12 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5, and 5 is freedom. Lovely. So freedom from problematic behavior, freedom from things that make you feel powerless, and freedom from faulty beliefs that keep you stuck and limited, and understanding that love really is valuable and your connections are much more important than little disagreements that you have along the way. And it's about changing your perspective on things and seeing, I think on some level it's going to be, you know what, even though other people aren't perfect or they have some funny views, they're not so bad. And I really care about them. So it's nice because you don't go into this situation like a bulldozer. You go in there able to speak and to listen and to teach and to learn. And it's really a great day for relationships and for learning from other people and improving yourself based on that, which is interesting because in my readings, often I feel that the useful information that can affect real inner change often comes from the higher self, your guides. But here, the universe is working through other people as such to reach you, to open your heart. Excuse me. So I hope you have a wonderful Christmas Eve. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a fabulous day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.